Hey guys, it's us, the Resistance Broadcast, and this is our first monthly Q&A. So you guys asked us some questions, they could be Star Wars or not, and we're going to answer them. We got about 7 this month, so hopefully we give you guys some good answers. So let's get right into this. You guys want to intro yourselves before I start?
I'm nervous.
No,
I didn't
know who we are.
I didn't read these. So I'm James Baney. You can find me on Twitter at James Baney.
My name is Lacey Gilleran. I have a problem.
And that problem,
I mean, that's accurate. But...
is swole. Okay, let's do this.
This went weird so fast. Okay, so
That's okay.
First question is from Evan Harris. Hey, Evan. He's my boy, my Kylo boy. So he asks, how did John and James meet? So I don't know which one of you want to take that. That's an adorable question.
I mean, it's a pretty straightforward thing. We met through the podcast. I was a guest.
Not romantic at all.
Yeah.
Or was it?
I was a guest on the show long ago, and John was already a writer for the show. So he was... John, correct me if I'm wrong. You were kind of established. I don't think you'd done the podcast yet, but you were already Star Wars Newsnet family. And I was like random fan.
Okay. Yeah, I forget. I don't remember what. Do you remember what episode you started on? You made your first appearance.
I want to say either 64 or 65 because the first one that I wasn't on after I was on or somewhere around there was the big like Order 66 episode.
And that was my first episode. So
okay. So I actually predated you on the podcast.
I think I remember this because this is what happened, Evan. I'd been writing for Star Wars Newsnet, and then Pat invited me to come on the podcast to talk about an article, whatever, and it wound up being the episode 66, the Palpatine thing. And a couple of people were on there. James was not on there. But then I heard Val told me, he's like, yeah, this guy James, I don't know where he's from, but I guess, he's a musician or whatever. And I listened to it. I'm like, oh, that guy sounds like he's fun to talk to. I'm like, so then I hit him up on Twitter when we were supposed to first do our same episode together. And I'm like, dude, he's like, wait till you and I are on. And it was a thread with a few of us. I go, wait till you and I are on an episode together. And he just goes, are you talking to me? I'm like, yeah, I'm talking to you. So then we started doing the episodes together and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually don't remember that, but I do remember at that time, like, just having, like, no clue. Like, thinking, like, not that anybody is not the coolest person in the world, but I was thinking, like, Bill was, like, some huge Star Wars Newsnet reporter. So was John. Pat was, like, this massive professional radio DJ and all this other stuff.
And you thought Grant was Star Wars Newsnet.
I thought Grant was the Star Wars Newsnet dude. Like,
and
I thought he ran the site.
Grant has been along. You've probably seen his articles. He's been a long writer of ours, but James thought he was like the owner of the site.
Now, so it's not that anybody is lesser than what I thought. I had a completely different impression about the podcast when I first started on.
And James and I have never met in person yet, but we're going to do that at Celebration.
Absolutely.
But John and I have.
We have.
Yeah. And I have.
And Lacey
and we have. Yeah.
And Lacey met Bill.
And Lacey met Bill. So of everybody that's been on the podcast, none of us have met, except for almost all of us have met Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I'm awesome.
Lacey's met almost everybody.
All right, next question. Oh, this is a good one. This is from Jordan Rennie, and I'm assuming it's a he.
He likes his eggs, Rennie.
I think Jordan, is a he.
He asks, would you rather have Jabba's face, a laugh like Salacious Crumb, or legs, and parenthesis, and walk like Jar Jar? John, I'll let you go first.
Easy.
I already know John's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm letting go first.
I would love to
Jabba's
laugh,
face.
like,
because he already has it.
I would love to have a Salacious Crumb's laugh. I think it's so...
Can you do it?
I'm not really good at it, so I'll have to work on it before I do it again. But it's very hard to do, and one time Pat did it on the podcast and terrified me and James to the point.
Can you do it?
No, it's like...
Oh.
like something like that.
It's not bad.
I would love to have his normal laugh though, and then have no friends because it's pretty obnoxious.
That is,
Yeah.
but if you're with that person, you probably think you're a comedian. You're like,
I just love. It's not a bit either. I just love Salacious Crumb. He's adorable. He's funny. I love him.
I think that if you looked like Jabba, that would not be acceptable. And if you like had the legs of and walked like Jar Jar, I think people would like
which is like a
be
walk, right?
weirded out by that too. Yeah, but think you have to have his legs too. So like you have these like weird flat amphibian legs.
But
Yeah,
I'd
but
be
dude-
super tall.
You could be like the greatest like basketball player ever. See how he jumps, dude?
But he has no coordination though.
That's
so
a
does that
good
come with the
point.
legs?
But I still think people would think it would be weirded out. But I think if you had a laugh like Salacious Crumb, people would think you were weird, or they would like tease you about your laugh. But you could be a normal person and just have that laugh. So I'm going with Salacious laugh too. Lacey, I need you to say.
No, I think I'm going to do the laugh too, only because I laugh so much. So
Are you guys gonna do the impression too?
I just know the where he like where they realize something bad's about to happen. He's like
Yeah.
Does
That's
he
the one
flip
I
his
know.
head back too?
He does
Does
a lot
he
of
do like a
cackling.
Muppet? Like,
he does cackles.
He does a lot of cackling. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan, great question. Next is Sean Santarude. How rude, Sean. That's a Full House joke for people.
Isn't it weird that I know these people's Twitter handles? It's Rude Cold. I guarantee.
Yeah, rude cold. Yeah. What were all your first memories of Star Wars? So I've told the story a couple times, so I'll let you guys go first. James, what was your first memory of Star Wars?
I've actually think I've told this too, but it's like it's such a random memory that I can't even like put it together.
Right.
I think it has to do with me like walking down to our basement, and I remember Empire Strikes Back Battle of Hoth was like on TV.
Nice.
And I remember even at that time knowing like what it was, and I'm actually even fairly certain it wasn't like on TV, but it was like we had a VHS copy that had like a white label on the front, and in like blue, like that girly blue, light blue ink, it was like scratched in like E M.
Oh, so it was a home. You guys recorded it off TV.
Off the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, it was like Empire. It said Empire Strikes Back like,
This
not
afternoon
so.
on
Yeah.
CBS.
Star Wars will be right back after
I can
this.
like still remember like sliding that tape in and watching it drop down and the flap closing.
You have to adjust the tracking and fast forward through the Folgers commercials. And
And I was like the only person in the family that knew how to do that.
The
Like, why is it
best
skipping?
part
And I'm
of
like,
waking
it's
up.
this button. You got to turn. I didn't know it was tracking.
yeah.
All right, John, go.
My earliest memory that I could think of is also Empire Strikes Back, but I remember it being when Luke goes to fight Vader, because I remember those orange lights and the dark blue, and asking my dad about the lightsabers, and my dad would do this awful impression of the sound of the lightsabers. I think I talked about this on the podcast. And he would say,
What did he do?
he would go, wong, 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 wong. But I remember asking about Luke Skywalker, and he's like, yeah, that's the hero. He's a good guy. I'm like, oh, man, that's so cool. And it
And
made
years
me feel
later, he would end up on an island, sad and alone.
yeah. But it made me
Yeah,
feel like...
if that happens today, then people go, well, you can't really call him the bad guy. Misunderstood.
Right. Back then, it was much simpler. It was
Yeah.
wong, wong. No, but I remember thinking like it was so... I felt like it was real and it was happening somewhere else, and it was big and it was huge. And I was like 5 years old. So it was like 1987 or something like that. And then when the special editions came out, my fandom went through the roof.
Oh, those are so nice. I've told a story, I think, twice since I've been on the podcast, but just a highlight reel. I went to Stu Leonard's in Connecticut, Danbury Stu Leonard's. They used to have a movie section. I saw a video with Darth Vader's face on it. I said, I want that. My dad said, you want that? I said, yes. And then that was it. I think the moment that I met Luke and he was on a desert planet, and I remember the scene where he's looking out to the sunset, and I remember thinking, I'm that kid. Someday someone's going to pick me up on a spaceship and I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm meant for bigger things.
Somebody's going to pick me up in a spaceship and say goodbye.
Yeah. I was like, I'm destined for adventure.
Wilson Phillips.
Didn't happen. But yeah, it was just, that was it. I was a huge Star Wars fan.
That is very adorable.
I know, right?
What
I
year-
used to pretend Leia was my mom.
What was it? Was it? I feel like we talked about this. Was it the THX version? Was it? It wasn't the special edition, right? It was before that, or was it?
It was before that because the VHS set was black. It wasn't gold. Because I've Googled this and I'm going to try to find it. But it was definitely not a gold one. It was a black one with like kind of bluish on it.
The THX that came out before the special edition had Vader on the Star Wars box, had Yoda on the Return of the Jedi box, and a Stormtrooper on the Empire box.
I just know the main box that held all 3 movies was Darth Vader. Okay. And for some reason, I remember the VHS is making Darth Vader's face, but I might be making that up.
I feel like that was like 90s.
Yeah, this is all 90s. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, so I love Star Wars. Okay, so next is Tampa Movie Guy. Hey, Tampa Movie Guy.
Tampa Movie Guy.
He's the best.
I was like, do you have a name? He's like, just call me Tampa Movie Guy. I was like,
he's Tampa. Every letter I write to him, I'm like, hey, Tampa Movie Guy.
I'm going to go. I'm all about calling him TMG.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up.
I like just Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa. What are your top 2 favorite Star Wars movies? So, guys, real quick, which ones, if you could only watch 2 for the rest of your life, which 2 would you choose? John.
Empire Strikes Back is number 1, and probably also number 2 in case I lose my first copy of Empire Strikes Back.
No.
Oh, no. All right.
2.
I'll have to say, that is brutality.
It really is tough.
I'm going to say A New Hope. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yep.
James?
I'm probably going to have the worst answer.
No, you won't. No, there's no bad answer.
Can I guess James real quick? Can I guess James 2 real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
It's going to be Rogue One is one of them. And the other one is going to be The Force Awakens.
Nope, neither one. Damn it. Okay, this may or may not be my answer, but this is the first thing I thought of when hearing this right away. Is my 2 movies that I'd probably take with me are The Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith. And the reason is...
Wow, those caught me off guard. I was not expecting that, but cool.
Yeah, the reason is because every time I think about rewatching a Star Wars movie, I always go, I probably missed something in Phantom Menace. Something about like the trade deal or trying to understand it better. We're getting ready to do an episode on Palpatine, and just trying to understand the political aspect of all this is so deep that it makes me think like I could pick up clues, or maybe if I rewatch those movies, I end up watching the prequels way more than any other movie in the series because I feel like there's just something I'm missing, and I'm trying to like fully get it and fully understand every line.
There's a lot of info in those movies.
I feel like the original trilogy are like super straightforward, like with everything that they say, like we understood every line. Whereas like everything in the prequels and even in the sequel trilogy stuff were like, but this line could mean like 10 different things, So I don't know. That's a weird answer, and it might not be my favorite, but I feel like which one am I going to get the most use out of? If I had the whole collection. Mm-hmm. And then I spent 10 years on a desert island, you'd probably find that I'd watch the prequels the most, which would be... So I'll take those.
John, what do you think I'd watch? Real quick.
Force Awakens / Jedi.
Definitely The Force Awakens. And then I will say... You'll also say... A New Hope.
Great answers. One is absolutely correct. I will watch The Force Awakens till the end of time. That's my go-to, guys. When I'm cleaning or doing anything, reorganizing stuff, just want to put something on, that's the one I go to, and I don't know why. There's just something so magical about it that it
has insane rewatchability.
It's so magical, and I remember where I was when they announced the movie and how excited I was, and when I was at the panel and then seeing it in the movie theater, and just that magical feeling of Rey grabbing the lightsaber, and everything about that movie is just so great. It's like seeing your old friends again. It's just so wonderful.
Jedi Steps. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's just, that movie is just so good, guys. And I'm going to be honest right now, and I'm sure people are going to hate me for it, but Last Jedi it doesn't rewatch well. I can't.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say
again.
that was your second one.
No, I can't rewatch it again. I just end up skipping through parts, and
I
I
agree
never
with you.
skip through The Force Awakens ever.
I think the thing about Last Jedi is that for whatever reason, I remember leading up to Last Jedi and thinking, 10 minutes more. That's great. That's great news. I always want 10 minutes of Star Wars. But to be honest with you, it's kind of long.
I just skip through. I skip through all Canto Bight. I skip through.
I like watching it in the moment, but it's a long movie, so it makes me not want to put it on because I'm like, I don't want to sit through Last Jedi. It's a long movie. Yeah.
And Force Awakens, I have friends that can prove this. I know all the lines, so when I'm watching it, I'll just say all the lines.
Well, I'll
the
remember
other
that
ones,
when we play Who Are You again.
Yeah. So for the second one, I was initially going to say A New Hope, but I'm going to fall back on Return of the Jedi because there is something magical about Luke Skywalker coming back at the beginning of that movie that tops all the other movies where he's a full-on Jedi Master and he's like fighting the Rancor. And then I know people hate it. I love Leia in the bikini. I think it's awesome. I think she kicks butt in it. She looks fabulous. She saves Han.
She looks fantastic.
I love that. I love it, and I've loved it from an early age. I love that bikini, so I don't care what anybody says. I think it's wonderful, and I love that movie.
You know, Lacey, I went to the Power of Costume in New York City.
So did I.
She was so tiny.
Yep.
It was like it was on an American Girl doll, how small her outfits were.
Same with Natalie Portman, too. Those were really small,
but
too. But Daisy Ridley's
was a little
tiny.
taller. Carrie Fisher was 5'1".
Yeah, she's short. Yeah, or was short. But
those are good picks.
I just love when he shows up and he's in the hood and he's just like, "Take me to your master," and you're like, "Oh my god, he's gonna mess stuff up!" Like he's so
you guys
bad
aren't
now.
doing any kind of. James is skipping Attack of the Clones, and I get that, and you're doing
beginning
Jedi,
and end.
Jedi to Force Awakens, so there's a connectivity there, and I'm doing 4 to 5, so I can do a little like, all right, they're back to back. So interesting.
And now that I'm like talking about Return of the Jedi, it just makes me even more sad about where Luke is in The Last Jedi.
Well, also what's
so
supposed to be
bad.
We had no duplicates
awesome.
there, so we're covering 6 of the movies together on each of our own islands, and then we could like put it in a bottle and send it like, all right, James, I'm sending you A New Hope now.
I'd be down with rewatching the ones that you guys picked, though. I mean,
I love Return of the Jedi. There's just something so magical about that.
I like
original trilogies
all
in
the
there
Star
somewhere.
Wars. Give me all the Star Wars.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we are halfway through these questions. We're giving some thorough answers.
Okay.
Brian Pothier, who's I'm slaughtering these names, but Brian is new to the channel. Thanks for subscribing,
new admiral.
Brian.
Yeah,
we're excited to have you. He asks, if you were put in charge of Star Wars, after the Disney acquisition, how would you have done things differently? This is probably the toughest question. I should have given you guys this question earlier.
James?
Because, no time to prep for these.
This might be an expanded question, Brian. This is actually a great question that we can expand into the show.
Yeah. Okay, my first reaction is I think that...
It's also dangerous, too.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the things they've done...
I wouldn't kill Admiral Akbar the way that he got killed.
Oh, we're going that specific? Okay.
I'm just thinking of something off the top of my head. I wouldn't have killed him that way. I love him. He's right behind me right here.
I was thinking production hierarchy.
Yeah, that's how I was thinking too.
I was thinking character-wise.
My answer is going to be, I think that when doing this stuff, you never know because it's kind of that like retrospect, like
Monday morning quarterback.
Something is 2020, like when you look back
Hindsight.
or whatever. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah,
I know what I would do.
Kind of thing.
I figured it out.
But I do think that something I thought from the very beginning and was surprised to learn that wasn't going on is the whole like handoff mentality of like the whole trilogy wasn't written. I thought for the longest time, absolutely, there's no way they're not doing that, and to find out that they kind of aren't. That they are just hoping that the next one
makes sense. Yeah,
would pass it off. I was like, I think that. Not that it's a mistake because I love the movies, but I think that that all 3 movies could have been a little bit better. You know,
They could have been.
I think that understanding of where this was going and foreshadowing things in the early movies, instead of trying to go, all right, now I have to write a movie that something said in Force Awakens with no knowledge of what was going to happen later.
Right, and you don't know where it was going to begin with.
Foreshadow. Yeah. So it makes it more difficult to write those later movies. So I don't know. I think that's probably like the number one thing for me.
Building off of that, James, I would say I would pull an Avatar and or Avengers and shoot them all at the same time.
Ooh.
Shoot all 3 movies at the same time, all back to back. Then you would still have Princess Leia in them because they would have shot them all together.
It's not a terrible idea because...
But then you're saying you're the same person write them, right?
They're ending up with JJ anyway. They're all at this point.
But then, okay. Then you're not getting The Last Jedi. You know, it's going to be obviously way different story and all that.
It would have been, yeah.
But it would have been
probably
cohesive.
10 other versions that would have been just as good too as the movies we got. But I'll say this is like, look at something like Lord of the Rings, you know, like all 3 of those movies were shot at the same time.
Yes,
and
exactly.
There's
that's what I was thinking of, Lord of the Rings.
Wrong with any of them.
Oh,
they're
perfect.
All
they're
highly
perfect.
respected for what they are. And it was because they knew the whole time that they were doing the 3, which Lucasfilm did. And,
yeah, but you shoot a whole season of TV in one sitting, so why wouldn't you shoot a movie that is building off of that? Like,
it's 3 hours of people walking, but that's okay.
Oh, stop. That movie is gorgeous. Everything about that movie is epic.
Even the trees walked in those movies.
Okay, Clerks too. Calm down.
But you could also say everybody was fighting in those movies.
No, I know.
Even the trees were fighting in those movies.
My answer is a little more controversial, I guess, but whatever.
Well, Patreon exclusive.
Yeah. Okay. So
then you'll see it on Reddit.
I would keep Kathleen Kennedy as executive producer, like she's always been for her career, and I would have J.J. Abrams and Dave Filoni be like a 2-headed Feige, and have them be the controllers of the story to keep the cohesiveness, but also letting Rian Johnson do one of the chapters and stuff like that.
I trust Dave Filoni more than anybody, I think, at Lucasfilm.
The only reason why I say like Abrams is because he proved, like, him and Kasdan crushed in TFA, right? And he's more on the straight and narrow. And then you have Filoni, who's very weird and out there with the lore. So if you put the 2 of them together, they could probably churn out a cohesive, cool...
And keep Kasdan on for all the movies. Kasdan writes all the movies.
As long as Larry Kasdan wanted to write a Star Wars movie, he has my full support. I love Larry
come
Kasdan.
Back, please.
One other thing to throw in there too is like maybe a couple more story group members, and then let some of those people be like film story group specifically, and they're like on hand all the time.
Well, aren't they?
You know,
no.
I think that certain things, like I think most of the story group is involved with like books and games and comics and things like that to make sure all that stuff it connects. But I think as far as the film go, they're only really there to like correct people.
Make sure it makes sense. Yeah,
make sure or to be aware of everything that's going on, so that later they don't like miss something that happened in a movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think those are great answers. Guys, you just got the input of us for Lucasfilm, which means nothing, but whatever. Okay, next is Scott J-Ro. Hey, Scott.
Scott. What's up, buddy?
If you could meet one Star Wars actor, who would it be? I'll let you guys go first.
Lacey, just get yours out of the way.
You always let us go first. Just,
okay, well, I've met a bunch of these people. I've met Peter Mayhew.
Just say who...
Let me see if this will focus in.
Yeah. Sweet
I'd
bread.
meet Adam Driver.
There it is. Okay.
Or Daisy Ridley. I haven't met Daisy Ridley yet. I saw her in passing. I didn't actually speak to her. So I would definitely talk to her.
James?
Ewan McGregor.
Oh, he's a good one too. I didn't mean to yell into the microphone. I'm sorry. Yes, Ewan McGregor. Absolutely. I would choose Ewan McGregor over Adam Driver.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ewan McGregor would be good simply because like I think he would be super conversational and also super knowledgeable and also super witty. And then on top of that, I could probably talk to him a lot about some of the other movies that I've thoroughly enjoyed him in over the years.
Like Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, and Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yeah. Ewan McGregor is a great answer. I might change my answer to that only because I feel like he is a lot more friendly than Adam Driver. Not that Adam Driver's not friendly. He's just a little socially awkward. John,
you could
go
do
ahead.
Hayden Christensen and be like, pizza movie? Seriously? Little Italy?
I watched that. He was actually pretty good in it.
No, I
but the
know.
movie was really
That's why I'm
cheesy.
teasing you about
Yeah,
it.
go see
Cheese,
Hayden Christensen in
pun,
Shattered Glass
and
or
pun.
Life as a House. He's excellent in both of those movies.
But you see him shirtless in Little Italy.
Even though he's shirtless in a lot of movies.
In boxer briefs or something.
Did you see him in Life as a House with Shattered Glass in Little Italy?
Okay.
It was like a play, and it was all three of them.
See, our
No,
goal,
but-
guys, here is to make you the longest Q&A video we possibly
He
can.
just wants to make specialized pizzas, guys. Just let him live his life.
I would, even though he's very boring and impersonable a lot, I have to say Harrison Ford. Yeah.
Oh, Harrison Ford winked at me once, guys. That's a true story. I was 16. I was front row at the Martha Stewart show.
My
and he
arm
made,
is getting tired, Lacey.
he made some joke and he winked at me.
I'm
And
sure
the
he
lady
winked
next-
right at Lacey and not that person, that person.
No, it was me.
That person, that person.
John, I'm not lying.
Lacey, I saw the video of that show. You were actually sitting right in front of Callista Flockhart, so there was no chance he was making
No,
it.
I wasn't. She wasn't there.
I'm just
But
kidding.
the lady next to me was like 50, and she was like, "Oh my god, he just winked at you."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Gross."
friend-
He's like 50, and
my
now
friend-
I appreciate it because I was
Harrison
16.
Ford's like,
My friend
"Check out
Kelly's
that
grandmother
50-year-old."
used to say...
I was 16 at the time, so
My friend Kelly's grandmother was like in her 80s or whatever, and she used to always say, Harrison Ford could put his shoes under my bed anytime.
ooh. Well, 16-year-old Lacey was like, "Ew, he's old," but like he definitely did. I can bring Sharon on, my mom, and she'll tell you.
All right. We believe.
Definitely did. Thank you for believing me. And why would I make that up? I'm not crazy. Stop.
Oh, you saw that?
That's like my one claim to fame. No one ever hits on me. Harrison
Your
Ford
one
winked
claim
at
to
me
fame?
once.
How many times are we going to hear that damn Mark Hamill tram story?
You've heard it twice, and that's not a claim to fame. That was just me freaking out. He didn't do anything to me specifically.
Okay.
I mean, he
I
could
like
if
how
he wanted
John's
to.
basically
Mark, you could if
winking
you
at the
wanted
audience
to.
too. Like, look at how crazy you are, Lacey.
No, I was sitting right in front
I'm
of him.
breaking
He
the
was
fourth
like 2
wall,
feet in
except
front of
she
me.
can
Yeah.
see through the fourth wall, too. That's the problem.
Guys, I'm not making that up. I'm gonna look for the episode and I'll let you know. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So last but not least is Jordan Delgadillo. Jordan posted the most amazing Natalie Portman art today. It was gorgeous.
I didn't see
and I
that.
retweeted it. And it was stunning and heartbreaking because it's the part where she's dead. But Jordan, awesome. Great job. His question is, why hasn't Lacey watched Game of Thrones and when is she going to start? I'm sorry. I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
I'll take this one. So, Jordan.
I haven't watched Game of Thrones either.
Poor James.
James
like,
is always
"Guys."
left out. Oh, James.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna start
Just
soon.
saying.
When does it start in April? I think I have just enough time that if I watch like 2 episodes a day, I could probably make it. Maybe.
Lacey, imagine Game of Thrones comes back Star Wars Celebration weekend and people are losing their minds. They're like,
Is that the weekend it comes back?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I think
they said April.
Around that time.
April is
Yeah,
Star Wars
right.
Celebration, bruh.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Rah.
saying.
Ross.
Oh, let me give an answer to this too because I haven't seen it either. Never.
James, that's insane to me because I figured that'd be right up your alley. But
Never.
Can
Did
we
I-
talk
did
about
I
what we're
blow out
currently
the
watching?
microphone?
Because I'm like thoroughly obsessed with Storage Wars, if anybody wants to know. And the new Tidying Up show on Netflix with Marie Kimono. God,
That lady.
I've
I've been
cleaned my
watching-
closet and my basement.
I heard
I've
that's
gotten rid
good.
of 5 bags of clothes.
Yeah, I saw Alex Backus tweeting about that. That's interesting.
Good. It changes your whole life.
I've been watching a lot of Impractical Jokers.
Oh, I love them. Met them once,
And
twice.
a lot of this is weird, but I love these shows. The Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator.
Oh my God, they do them in Fairfield, Connecticut.
I just watched it on YouTube yesterday.
Yes.
I was like, holy cow.
And
I'm
the
like,
head of the police chief from Fairfield is now the security, like the head of security at my college at Sacred Heart
Yep.
University in Fairfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
'Cause one of these days I'm like, I'm going to see someone I know and it's going to be really bad.
They call it like teachers and a subway guy, and like they do it right downtown Fairfield.
Up, James is passing out. Okay,
James.
All right. Well, I guess
just take a seat right here. Why don't you take a seat?
That will take a seat. Is Bill here? That will do it, right?
Yes, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. If you want to be featured next month, we'll make a post sometime in the next few weeks. Just add your questions. As you saw, it could be literally anything you want to know about us. But that's it. Let's not keep this too long. But thank you guys so much for being patrons. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys enjoyed this, hearing a little bit more about us. We're going to record some shows now. But thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
He really winked at me. I'm not lying.